not only all the Hall of Famers coming back, but Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley are going to be hooking it up for the U.S. title. The Usos will be taking on Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. And then the ladies are going to be in a cage match, man. It's Becky versus Bailey. We don't see a lot of ladies cage matches, but that's a big one. What do you expect?
I don't know what to think there. Well, they're both. Uh, uh, they've been pushing Becky as hard as they. I really am involved that much. I know I've seen Bailey a lot more than I have Becky, so I don't know who they're pushing harder right now. But
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be good.
I'm sure it'll be good too. Two big stars, obviously in a cage match. And women's wrestling and violence in women's wrestling has been a topic over the last week. This past weekend, AEW put forth their Rampage show on Friday, and it featured a very bloody ladies match. Ruby Soho was bleeding a gusher, and that really brought about a debate, or at least a discussion online, about whether or not this sort of thing should exist in ladies wrestling. And there's a lot of old school folks who say absolutely not, but there are more progressively minded folks who say, hey, what the guys can do, the ladies should be able to do. And listen, some folks might not like it, but I kind of tend to agree. You see a shot there, Rick, of a very bloody Ruby Soho. Is this a controversial issue to you, blood in wrestling or blood in women's wrestling in 2023?
I don't like it. I mean, I guess everybody's got their own opinion, but I certainly wouldn't want to see Charlotte bleeding.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how they're doing it. I, geez, I know that's very old school to think, but I wouldn't want to see the Queen bleeding ever.
Right.
I mean, we all get hit the hard way, and sometimes you're going to draw blood, but I just couldn't imagine Charlotte cutting herself. I wouldn't like to see that. I would not like to see that.
Do you think wrestling as a whole should have more or less blood than it does in 2023? Because I think we would agree there's way less than there was in, say, the 70s or 80s. But
I think there should be more
okay.
with the guys.
Right.
I mean, no matter how you look at it, how do you put two people in a cage match? And 10 years ago, every time you hit the cage, you were bleeding. Now nothing happens. That's one thing I don't like. I don't like the girls in a cage match for sure, because I think it limits their athleticism, their ability to do athletic things, like off the top rope and that. But I forget the cages at WWE are like a foot and a half off the apron, right? Or
No.
is the cage? These aren't the cages that are against the ring apron. These are the cages you can go out on the floor and all that, right?
So usually, yes, I think
Yeah.
you're right.
Oh, that kind of cage match I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what were they're the ones that were they're pinned to the apron where they have nowhere to move
Yeah.
except maybe just the length of the apron to the cage. I think those are difficult for women.
Hmm. Well, let's ask, as we're talking about the ladies wrestling, we know that we've got a cage match coming up between the two ladies on this coming Monday Night Raw. Given the fact that we've just seen a very bloody match with the ladies on AEW, do you think there's going to be any blood in the cage match Monday, or do you think WWE has just moved on from that practice?
I'd be very confident in saying they moved on from that.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the topic
Did
of,
did Rampage get a rating with that?
I don't believe so. No.
So I don't know. What do you accomplish?
Let's um let's talk about Mickey James for a minute here. Friend of the show. I know you and I both think a lot of Mickey, and she has been doing what was called the last rodeo over on Impact Wrestling. And
Uh
this
huh.
past weekend, she put her career on the line. It was career versus title with her and Jordan Grace. And well, what do you know? Mickey James, she's still alive. Not only is her career alive, but she's now the Impact Women's Champion. Saw a great shot of her celebrating in the ring with her son. Just a really cool, feel good moment. Mickey James, man, enjoying quite a second act here lately in Impact Wrestling. I don't
Yeah.
think we
Well,
enough nice things about Mickey.
Well, I think the world of Mickey personally. I think she's great. She's a Hall of Famer. Had a phenomenal career, and the fact that she's had children now and early child and picked right back up, and she's just as good now as she was back then 10 years ago.
No doubt about it.
Right, yeah, she's really good, and she's very talented. And on top of that, she's a very, very nice person.
Well said. Pulling for Mickey. Can't wait to see what she's doing next.